Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is Vasil, and I'm still playing the game where I'm learning a whole lot about boat life. So, ethanol is a huge problem, and this is something I had no idea about. Ethanol in fuel, to be specific. Now, just to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about, I've pumped out some of the old gas from that tank into a 1 gallon water container so it's clear, so you get a good idea of what exactly we're talking about here. So this is the gas that came out. Obviously this portion is blue because that's 2-stroke motor, so therefore it has to be diluted with 2-stroke motor oil in order to lubricate the inside of the engine, because that's how 2-stroke engines run. They do not have any oil inside. They use the oil in the gas mixture to lubricate the engine as the engine is running. So if we take a look at this, right, we clearly have separation between what's on the bottom and what's on the top. And you can see how clearly that is separated. That is water. That is what we get from the ethanol mixture. And again, you can imagine the marine outboard tanks, they have a fuel supply line inside the tank that sits towards the bottom, so you can get the gasoline all the way at the bottom of the tank. So when it's sucking up gasoline, this is the first thing to go inside the engine because it's on the bottom portion of the tank. And this is exactly the problem that I'm trying to remedy. Let's discuss what ethanol is. So ethanol fuel is actually a corn-based product, and it derives ethyl, which is the same alcohol that humans use for consumption when we want to get drunk. And as of the early 2000s, we've been supplementing regular gasoline with ethanol. Standard gasoline contains up to 10% ethanol without jeopardizing any performance of the engine in modern engines. The problem with ethanol is it doesn't have the same shelf life as regular 100% petroleum-based gas. The major idea with ethanol is that it reduces our dependency on foreign gas because it's a renewable source that's made in the Midwest of the United States. And for most cars, it doesn't really make that much of a difference, because when you use a car on a regular basis, you're cycling through that fuel, let's just say every 2 weeks, maybe shorter, maybe longer, but the fuel doesn't have time to break down and absorb water. And certain cars actually are able to run on much more concentrated versions of ethanol, like fuel flex vehicles. A lot of those are Fords and Chevys and other US-based manufacturers. My BMW actually has a B85 conversion kit, so it runs on up to 85% ethanol. It actually has a higher octane than normal gas, therefore raising the horsepower once the map for the car has been adjusted via computer. However, when you're on a boat, there's a lot more water that's present in ambient air and given rain. So if ethanol is allowed to sit for a prolonged period of time, it actually degrades and starts to absorb its own weight in water. What that does is, again, it converts a lot of water into the gasoline that the engine should be using. Now, obviously, the octane for that is going to go down, and engines aren't meant to run on water. The ethanol breakdown problem is exactly what I'm experiencing right now. So the gas tank that I have for my 25 horsepower Johnson 2-stroke outboard motor was filled with gas. My guess is about 3 months ago, and it's been sitting ever since. We've had rain since then, and obviously ambient water in the air. Therefore, that gas has absorbed a ton of water, and my engine ran for a little bit and then just stopped because there is way too much water in the gas. And this is something that I have to remedy, because obviously we can't just get gas every single time we want to use the outboard motor. We have to rely on the fact that there is some stored gas on the boat when we need it. Over the long term, there are several ways to remedy the ethanol problem. This is what I have. So this is an Attwood water and gas separator. This is a filter kit that will separate any water that's accumulated in the gas over a period of time and allow me to run on essentially gasoline that hasn't been diluted with water, which means I can store gasoline on board, and anything that is going to be waterlogged will be taken care of by this filter. There are many varieties of this water separator kit. I got this one off Amazon. It's a $25 kit. There are ones that have the filter where you can drain the water on the bottom. There's ones that have the filter that you cannot drain the water from the bottom. I opted to go for the Attwood because of the reviews, and this is one where you can't drain the water from the filter. You just have to change the filter. Each one of those filters runs about $10. Given the price point of this system, it's likely that this is going to work great. It's also likely that it might not work that great. So I will have to do some experimentation with the system, see how often I have to change the filters, and perhaps there is a better, more expensive system or a equivalent price system that works better. This is one of those things where it's just gonna have to be trial and error. Out of the box, this is what this system looks like. So it has 2 holes for mounting. It also has 4 individual ports. 2 are in and 2 are out. So you can essentially run 2 motors, essentially have 2 outlets for gas delivery systems. This is the filter. So the filter element attaches like this to the main system. Then the system came with 2 plugs. So these are 3/8 pipes. They attach like this. My apologies, I dropped that. To the system. You could do it on either side. So you can have an inlet on one side and an outlet on the other side, or you can have an inlet on one side and an outlet on the other side. These 2 plugs were provided. What was not provided is the barb setup so you can attach your fuel lines. I had to get these from Home Depot. This is the same thread, so it's 3/8 pipe thread with a 3/8 barbed wire attachment for my fuel hoses. These guys for 3/8 run about $5 to $6, so an additional $10 in costs to get the attachments to attach your fuel hoses. Some of the other systems that I found on eBay and Amazon did have the provided attachments with the barbs. However, again, when you're getting more things for the price, sometimes I feel like it may jeopardize the quality of the system, and the reviews for those systems were not as good. So I opted to go for this system because, again, the reviews were better, and I think this is going to be a higher quality system, even though I have to put up a little bit more money to get some of the attachments for the system to work properly. Anytime you're doing plumbing, it's a good idea when you're using threads to use tape on the threads to make sure you get a good seal. This is what I got for that. It is PTFE Blue Monster tape. This is also available in a lot of different retailers like Amazon and Home Depot. I purchased mine at Home Depot, and this was $4. This is a lot of tape for $4. The standard option is about 98 cents for regular pipe thread that you get. However, I don't think the quality is going to be the same. It's worth it to spend the extra $3 to get this tape, and this is specifically designed for fuel applications. Putting this system together. So the way I'm going to have it mounted is I want the fuel to come out of this side. So both of these are going to be where my intake and outlet are, and this is going to be where my plugs are. Adding the tape is not necessary to the filter element because there is a rubber seal on here, so we will not be adding tape to this. We will just be adding tape to the 2 plugs and the supply lines that are barbed to our fuel line. Easiest way to think about it is you grab whatever it is that you're going to put the tape on, and then you put the tape onto the thread, and then essentially if you elongate the tape, you roll it in the same direction that it's going to be getting tightened in, right? And then you apply some pressure so that you can see the threads through it. Again, idea being that when this gets tightened, the tape is going in the same direction or getting tightened against the threads, because if you do it the other way, the tape will then be counteractive in the direction in which you are threading this, therefore coming undone. So think of it this way: as the thread is getting tightened, the final direction of the tape is being applied to the threads versus counteracting against the threads. I know that's a very kind of difficult thing. I know, that was a difficult concept to explain. I didn't have the words for it. It puts tape on the threads or it gets leaks in the system, all right? That's how it goes. It puts the tape on the threads. When you're done, this is what it looks like. You can kind of see the threads through the tape. and it's clean. Nothing is in the way of whatever it is that's going to be channeled through this fitting. When the system is assembled, this is what it looks like. You can see the tape is on both sides. Ain't that pretty, guys? That's so pretty. All right, time to put on the filter. There we go. System is now fully assembled. It's time to put it on the boat. To attach this system to the boat, it's going to be hanging off my railings, for which I will be using these 3/4 inch conduit brackets. I am so glad I found these guys. You guys have seen me use these for my solar panels and to attach my owls to the deck of this boat, and it's going to be the same thing for this. So the idea is going to be that these mounting holes are going to go like this. So the conduit bracket is going to sit like this, and it's going to be mounting on the railings, probably like this, so the screw is up. So there we go. And as far as the screws, I will be using a 1/4-20 with a washer, then a washer on the other side, a lock washer following that, and the nut. Let's get started. There we go. Got my conduit brackets attached. Again, the railing is going to be going through this portion. I'm going to take out these screws because obviously it has to go around the railing first, and then I will reattach the screws, attach this to the railing, and we are off to the races, ladies and gentlemen. So there it is. It's now attached to the railing. My gas tank is over here. Engine is obviously down there. If I need to move it, I can move it. That's the beauty of these conduit brackets. They're very easy to maneuver. It has enough torque on it. Obviously, this thing is not going to go anywhere. And I probably will be getting some longer hoses to make this easier. And I don't think this will be in the way. Again, this is an experiment, so we're going to try this in this position first. If I need to move it, I'll move it later. But this is good for now. Let's proceed. And gas separator hooked up. The next step is to come over here, and we have to disconnect this line because that's going to be going to the outlet and going to the motor, and in its place put another 5/16 inner diameter line that's going to be attaching to here to the inlet of the water and gas separator, and then this system should be set up. After that, we are going to be lowering the motor. Right now I have it in the upward position because it gets growth. It actually, I have to clean it off, but there's growth that grows on the prop and any portion that's in the water. So I have it lifted up, and I also have it secured via strap in case any big weight comes by and it's too much stress on the bracket, because again, there's a large torque arm there. So once that's lowered, we're gonna go ahead and remove the cowl and flush any of that bad gas that was in the system previously. Here we go. Okay, so gas is now empty. There's nothing in there. I emptied it out to make sure there's fresh fuel when we start going. This is for the hand pump. That goes up, 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 up into inlet. Then we have this going to the outlet. That hose comes around and it's currently sitting right here. And this is the quick connect to the gas on the motor. Cool, that is now done. Looks like I forgot one of those. Damn it, that's why I brought an extra one. Okay, that's fine. We'll take care of that. Don't you worry, guys. All right, let's lower this motor and see if there's a fuel filter in there that I could change. For this part, guys, we're gonna be wearing the GoPro because I don't want to take a chance of having my iPhone drop in the water. So we're gonna undo this portion right here, and once that is good, that will let me loosen up the strap, and then I gotta climb over and get this motor down. I've only done this a couple times, so bear with me. This is gonna suck. This is gonna suck real good. Come on. So let's get this strap loosened up. Get the strap off, and now we're gonna climb down. And my wrist is already injured, so hopefully I don't injure my wrist anymore.
than I need to. This is a portion of an acrobatic maneuver, and the idea is there's a lever here, so that needs to be pulled down, and then kind of hanging on with one hand. Got the other hand on this. Ow, my wrist. This little thing, I don't know if you guys can see that. I basically have to lift this up and then kick it over with my foot, and then bam, engine can go down. And we're actually going to lower it a little bit more too, so that it's sitting kind of in the water. There we go. Now I have access to this, and I can one-handedly, fuck my wrist, remove the latch, and voila. Check that motor out. It doesn't seem like there's an inline filter anywhere to be found. I don't know if that's a two-stroke thing. I don't know if that's a case of the motor being kind of old, but there is no filter on that motor. So I had actually bought a kit that included two 5/16 inline marine fuel filters. I don't know if I should be putting it on right now. Obviously it worked fine without it, maybe it didn't, so do I put it on? Might as well, right? I got the filter. So okay, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna put this inline filter on the engine, and then we can fill up the fuel, do everything we gotta do to the fuel, and we're off to testing. Okay guys, off to the races again in my dinghy. Y'all have been following this for a while. You've seen this maneuver done before. No. Okay. So this is where the quick connect attachment goes for the inline fuel, or the fuel that comes out of the tank. We're gonna circle around because this is that hose. It goes into here, and then out of that comes this fuel supply line that goes to the carburetor. So the idea is going to be to cut this line, install the inline filter on that, and hopefully don't fuck it up in the process. I mean, that's always the goal, right? If not, I'll have to get a whole new fuel line. Let's twist these scissors. I really hope I'm doing this right. This is one of those things. I know it's just a rubber hose, but still. Come on. This hose does not want to be cut. Come on, hose. Be very good, hose. And cut yourself. There we go. So we're gonna have a little bit of spillage there. Okay, that portion is done. Now the fuel filter is in my pocket. So again, take note of the direction. I don't know if you guys can see that because of the sun, but there is the arrow indicating the flow direction of the fuel. And the other thing we gotta do before we forget is we gotta attach this guy. This is the one that I took off that line that I forgot, and we're gonna put this on in a direction where I can reach it with a screwdriver. Insert the inline fuel filter. Make sure we got that. No, we don't. We don't got that. Space is a little bit tight. Come on. Okay, I'm gonna loosen this up a little bit using my screwdriver. And fuck. I always hate this. I always hate this part. Okay, there we go. Your screwdriver right here. Put this right here. Note direction of arrow. Insert fuel filter. This fuel filter does not want to go. Probably because these lines are so old. There we go. I'd like to get it in a little bit more if I could. A little bit more. Let me just feel where the end is. Okay. There we go. Okay. do this, tighten this down so that it doesn't slip. Okay, got that portion, and then the other one's actually a Phillips. So the second one's a Phillips, and I need to put it on before I forget. Again, always with these, note the direction in which you're going to be putting them on so you can access the screwdriver. Looks like we have room on this side, so that's where we're going to put it. Attach the hose, get the flathead Phillips screwdriver, and tighten this down. Okay, good. And then the other thing we have to make sure is that this line is not kinked, because if it's kinked, then we won't get any gas, and if we don't get any gas, this whole thing's not going to work. So there we go. Again, double check for any kinking. So far that looks good. This is a little bit compressed, but it definitely has enough room for the gas to go by. Okay, next let's actually, I don't know if I can do it from here. Yeah, let's lower the motor so that it's sitting inside. I want this plate to be in the water, and I think that's good. Let's get back on deck. Now, I got some gas. This is from yesterday. I actually bought premium because premium should have less ethanol in it than regular gas. I did pay a little bit extra, but who cares? This is fine. I want this to have a longer shelf life. Sorry guys, the sun is like right in my eyes. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill, call it 2 gallons for testing, into that same gas tank that we have, and then you're gonna stabilize the fuel. So first, let's add some fuel to that gas tank. Okay, keep in mind that is a 2-stroke engine, so I will have to add some 2-stroke motor oil to it. But before we do any of that, this is what I got. So it's stable. This is specifically for the stabilization of ethanol inside of fuel. So this thing treats up to 5 gallons of gas. So this is a 4-ounce container. So I'm gonna add about 1.75 ounces to that 2-gallon mixture. And again, we're not gonna go know for a little bit if it actually stabilizes the gas, and if it doesn't, hey, we got that water separator unit as well. So this is a double protection. Let's add this, then we're gonna add the appropriate amount of 2-stroke oil, and then we can start this engine. Okay guys, unfortunately, I didn't measure the line that goes to the tank from the location where the that water separator is sitting, so we don't have enough line. That's okay. I'm going to be replacing that line in the future anyway because it is dry, so I'll be ordering a new fuel line that's going to be longer so I can have that location. But again, for temporary purposes, we're just going to go ahead and lower that fuel separator and only have it be clamped on by one of those conduit brackets. So I'm going to do that right now, that we can plug the fuel line into the engine and start the testing process. All right guys, I connected the fuel line to the motor, and I primed the fuel line to fill that water separator with the fuel and then have it go down to the engine. Next we're gonna do is we're gonna put a whole bunch of starter fluid into the carburetor, and hopefully that the engine's gonna start initially on the starting fluid, and as the fuel pump primes, it brings enough of the fresh fuel mixed with that stable and the fresh 2-stroke oil into the motor, and I'm hoping it's just gonna keep on running. But again, cross your fingers. It's always tricky when you're starting out a carbureted engine that's being worked on for the first time, so always be patient and just have a smile on your face. I don't know, it's carbureted engines, it's salt life. Yeah, wish me luck guys. Moment of truth guys, we're gonna pull this up. That's for initial starting, that's our choke mechanism, and I think the battery's charged, so we should be good to go. Let's crank this key and see what happens. So it is filled with starter fluid. Again, being a carb engine, being a marine engine, being a two-stroke engine, these things always take a little bit of work to get started for the first time. So we're gonna keep trying. So let's do it again. That's a negative, Ghost Rider. Looks like I'm going down there again with some starting fluid. I don't know if there's something that I'm missing, but looks like either the starter fluid I have has gone bad or just straight up doesn't work, because every time I shoot it with this carb and choke cleaner, it seems to start up. So I did a little bit of this and it came to life. So we're gonna try more of this and see if it comes more to life. I think that's how it works, right guys? All right, so let me get on that and we'll try this again. Here we go. Okay guys, it's running, but it's running kind of angry, and I don't know if it's angry at me. I don't know what I did to hurt its feelings, but it is revving real hard. There is a case that's possible that when I installed the forward controls, so we might have the idle set a little too high. That's a possibility. So I'm gonna go down there and check it out, because it's going kind of crazy. Let me show you. So when we started up, yeah, that that motor wants to go. I don't know where it wants to go, but it wants to go somewhere real quick. It's also a possibility that the carb starter got it started, but now it's all hopped up on starter fluid. It's hot as fuck. So I don't know, I just maybe I should just run it slowly. I don't know how to run it slowly until the starter fluid burns off. Guys, I don't know. I'm gonna keep trying to get it to calm down. All right, that's all I want. I want this energy to just simmer down a little bit. It's a new day, and I went down there. It was my fault. The throttle cable really was off. So now that I've adjusted that throttle cable, I put a little bit of carb clean in there to see if we can get this going off the first shot on a brand new day after the engine's been resting. So once again, let's put this in the choke position, insert the key, and here we go. That's with choke, obviously. It's revving up. One side lower, the choke. There we go. We're all the way down. And play with it for a little bit. It's still got to warm up again. It's a carb engine. But got it adjusted. That thing is that thing is running. That was a lot of effort to get that thing going. Let me show you guys what it looks like in the water. There it is. That's what it looks like in the water with the kettle running. The color is great. You got water coming out the side. The only thing about this motor is when the waves come by, I am worried about the water being able to reach all the way into the carburetor. We'll have to see that play out in real life. I hope everybody learned something today, either ethanol or installing a water separator unit, or how much of a pain in the ass it is to get that engine running again. But either way, I am so glad that thing is squared away. There's so many other things to do before I'm able to take my maiden voyage, but for this episode, that is it, guys. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.